when we talk about sex? I'm not sure. Who knows?
Even me, I'm not sure, but to be on the safe side,
we will check later about that. We are live.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, sexuality and reproduction are very personal and intimate subjects, and we find that it's very rare that we share such issues with people in general, and partly because of the religion, the upbringing that we got, where there was some element of shame towards sex, but also, for instance, in my culture, it would be separated out. Only speak about sexual matters when I'm with other men, not with in public with where there are women. And so, culture and religion treated it as something that we treat privately. But many of us have left those environments. We have left religion as non-believers now. And some have also started to question culture. Personally, myself, I have started to see different cultures as just different ways of expressing by different groups of people. When we leave such environments, how does it affect our choice of when it comes to sex, the values? Do they change? How do we speak about it with other people? I think that's what we are going to deal with today. But when I was looking at it also, I saw it as something that is personal also to the group. I know most of the time we talk about religion, but in this case, I think this is the discussion that is pointing towards us as to how do we do it, not how the religion was doing it. So I think we will be more exploring on how we feel about this issue and how do we treat it. I think all of us here, Juliana has mentioned it, I've reached that stage also. In fact, for me, I hit it in the mid-40s where I just stopped becoming shy about sex. I was open about it. So I think all of us here can be free, honest, curious, and just be grounded on the topic because nobody's going to be hurt. So we have different topics that we will discuss, but the first one there is adventurousness and kinkiness. You know, sex in religion, it's a serious thing, serious. But we're not in the world out there. People do a lot of things. We even see different shops and what where there are toys and other things. How does living religion affect your openness into adventure, into sex and kinkiness? We can open the platform for discussion. Oh, we will use that method of, Muruki has raised his hand. Yes, Muruki?
Yeah, thanks. For me, what I'll say, to be honest, I've never seen like once we were to hang out. I don't know where we were, hang out. Then like in a Dockers, in a group, what about sex? I've never seen that. Even
I wonder whether it's me.
People talk about sex. So
Muruki?
like that. It was the
Yes,
first,
Morioki,
it was the first time.
you are breaking up.
Yeah,
Your
we can't
internet.
hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And now? Now can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You only change when you talk
Yeah,
about
I was
sex,
saying,
but when you talk about other things, we can hear you.
okay, I was saying, I was once at a hangout. I
Yeah.
can't remember where we were. Then Dorcas was there. There were quite a number of us talking about sex. I've never seen that people talk about sex so openly, like it's not biggie. Yeah, so I've never seen that in my life. So I think that's because it's an atheist group. Yeah. Hmm. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, and you can drop the hand so that next time when you raise it, we should know that you want our attention again. Okay, Dorcas.
Right. Aha. Kinkiness and adventurousness. I think this tendency to become kinky or openness to it tends to increase when you leave the church. Why is that the case? Because the church, okay, I'm using the church as a synonym for religion because all of us here are former Christians, but you can fill in whatever religion you are part of if you are not a Christian whenever I mention the church. Because they are all the same, especially those monotheistic ones. Unless it is some cultish brand of religion that uses sex for spiritual awareness. There are a few. There's a guy called Osha, formerly from India, who moved to the US. He used to have such a cult. But otherwise, for the most part, most religions are conservative about sex. In Christianity specifically, they used to tell us that sex is for procreation. Sex is for procreation. It fulfills a biological function. And they used to have a lot of fear-mongering around anything that isn't centered on the biological function or reproduction. So obviously kinkiness would fall into it. I remember there was a discussion that was being had on a TV panel. Here in Kenya, this is what I've observed, by the way. Whenever people are talking about some moral topic, they'll invite maybe a psychologist, they'll invite a person who has undergone the experience that the topic is referring to, and then they'll invite a pastor. They always do that. A pastor, and then maybe some media personality, a social media influencer, etc., or somebody who is very expressive, that will complete the panel. So in that panel, there was some guy who considers himself to be a sexpert, and then there was a radio personality, and there was a pastor. In fact, this pastor has started a program called Man Enough. It targets men to teach them how to be men using Christian values. It's called Pastor Bevi. So Pastor Bevi was like, no. Sex toys are a no-no. You're introducing an unwanted, a third party in the marriage. Yet the Bible says that marriage is between two people, not between two people and a dildo, or between two people and beads and whatever kinky stuff you want to try. So he obviously took the conservative position. And that is what I found with Christians or religious people, is that if there's a matter on sex, there is a traditional side, a restrictive side, and then there's the open, explorative, adventurous side. They will always go to the restrictive side. That's how they are. So when you leave religion, you no longer have those shackles around you. and you can be free to discover the kinks that you have. There's nothing wrong with being kinky as long as consent is involved. However, I have to admit that not all atheists let go of the shackles of religion, because this is programming that has been going on throughout your life. For some people, it accounts for maybe 80% or 90% of their lives. You've been conditioned over and over again to think of sex as something dirty, something lustful, to be curtailed and to be controlled, not to be explored. So it becomes ingrained in you, and subliminally you find that you are still resisting adventure and kink. If you find a partner who is into that, into BDSM, and stuff that is not harmful, because I know there's one of us here who was, I don't know, a BDSM addict. Maybe you'll tell us, maybe you'll not, I don't know. I don't want to put pressure on you, but he's here in the meeting. So if you find a partner that is into BDSM and it's not maybe the sadistic kind which you're not into, then I think as secularist, an atheist is more likely to explore than a believer. Yeah, let me leave it there. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And what you mentioned there about pastors being against a dildo, I can see how it works. Religion, it's patriarchal, and because we don't have batteries and we don't vibrate, and dildos do that thing, then I think for men it would be say a competition here, and they would pretend that is religion, whereas it's just selfishness on their part. I wonder if that pastor was asked about it all. Would it be the same answer as a dildo? I'm not sure. Yeah. Then any other person? We just dealt with, we've got how many points, I think? 9. But on this one of adventurousness, kinkiness, we have had only 2 people talking about it, and it's few minutes. There's a lot of things there, a lot. Oh, I see even a new person. Hi, Black Messiah. I never saw you coming in. So how do you feel? Do you feel comfortable expressing yourself? Do you experiment with your desires? Do you feel easy playing, role playing, maybe being a gardener and working for the madam? You know, there are a lot of things when it comes to this department of kinkiness. Some of them, they're even shocking, but we are adults. Maybe you are a teacher, your wife, your girlfriend is a student, and you are wearing those things. You are a doctor, a nurse, a patient. This department of kinkiness, it's a big department. And yeah, how do you find it? Is it something that you are easy to participate in, or are you still conservative? I think that's the question. Oh, Juliana, sorry for being racist. I never saw the hand because it was a big dark.
A black hand. Oh my gosh. Okay.
My apologies.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bolalang. So, something I can say about kinkiness and adventurous. So, one person's kinkiness is another one's normal, and vice versa. So it depends on the level and the scale of kinkiness. So somebody might look at me and might say, I am too kinky. And maybe my kinkiness is I just like to have fun in, say, in a vehicle or somewhere under a tree, like outside, like not the normal place of in the bedroom with the door locked, lights off, under the covers. It just depends. And so in terms of you talked about role playing and easy playing, yeah, that's probably something that we do. And I would really, really like to get those Christians who are saying no, 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 and just look into their minds, because I bet you they are thinking about role playing wherever they are. As simple as, yeah, you mentioned the gardener, the one that's quite, well, the professor and the student, things like that. I'm pretty sure they're thinking about those things even though they deny. So sometimes I don't trust when these pastors and all these people are interviewed, because they have to speak to the masses. Yeah, and as for me, I think role playing is well, yeah. Once I left Catholic, well, I was Catholic, and the people who can really lay a guilt trip on you are Catholics. I don't know how they do it. We talk about Catholic guilt. It took me a long, long, long time to be comfortable with my own sexuality after I left Catholicism, because there's that small brain in me. Just even thinking about sex, even reading a sex book, looking at movies with some sex material in them was a sin. They were really, really, really brainwashed us. And so after that, for me, yeah, anything role playing, kinkiness, I can explore so long as it's mutual and it doesn't hurt anyone and we are both into it, and which is a really good space to be for me. Thanks.
I'm thinking of role playing and a person coming as a nun.
Ooh, of the Pope. Oh my God.
It would match that conservativeness that they have, and somehow create a paradox. And you were talking about people at the church. Another role playing, pastors. If you are a husband and you have been worried, why is my wife talking about the pastor? One day you can come in as a pastor. Hi, Mureke.
Yes, Brother Lang. For me, what I say, I think for BDSM, that's like a punishment turned into pleasure. So for me, for BDSM, I have a problem because it involves pain. It involves inflicting pain on somebody. So BDSM for me is a problem. Thanks, whether Christian or whatever. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I hear you. I wonder. From long time ago, I'm of the opinion that sex is like pain. If it was not pain, people would not be screaming like that. It's pain from the person that you love, or pain that you do under pressure, releasing some pressure. Bodies would not be twisting and people screaming like that, and people would not be pounding at each other like that. There's an element of fighting there, and maybe others like it more explicit, the fighting, the strangling, the spanking. Those things are there in a subtle way, even on people that are not playing those games.
Well, BDSM is like punishment, right? At least sex is understandable, but BDSM is like punishment.
Wait, Miroke, we lost sound.
What?
Yeah? We lost sound. Please start again.
Sorry. I'm saying sex is understandable, But BDSM is like punishment. It's punishment turned into pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know, Miroke. People ask us to be punished, even when there are no toys or no whips and things like that. They would say, "Punish me, punish me." So there is an element of that naturally in sex. Sex is not a peaceful act. It's a paradox of a sort. There's fighting, but also there's it confuses. I don't know what it is, and that mix up that you find there, love, hate, a little bit of hate, but that ends after the session. There's something about it that is like that. Dorcas?
Yes, I wanted to respond to Morioki's assertion and also to something Juliana said. So, Morioki, you have to acknowledge nuance. This is the battle I have had with Morioki. Like, he wants to throw away the baby with the bath water, everything, you just want to throw it away. BDSM is an acronym for bondage, dominance, masochism, and
sadism.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are some people that engage in the first one. If you dominate somebody, there's no pain. There need not be, sometimes there might be, but there need not be pain. I'm just being dominated. He's pretending to be my teacher while I am a Form 2 student. I'm pretending to be a Form 2 student, and I'm wearing those cheerleader outfits. So we are role playing. He's dominating me. He's telling me to hand in my homework. You've been a bad girl. You have not listened to your teacher. So I'm going to punish you. Or if he's a doctor, I'll give you an injection. So it's not painful in any way, but it's still part of BDSM. You have to acknowledge that, Morioki. You can't lump all of BDSM into sadism or masochism. Yeah. And then even this notion of pain, I think pain is a subjective term, and it depends on the individual. There are people who enjoy pain, and there are people who, for the most part, actually, most of humanity does not. But there are the select few who are masochists. They derive pleasure from pain. So, and they're the ones that seek it out. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you have a safe word and you don't go to the extreme. So I don't see why you need to impose your values. You see it as punishment or as a bad thing, but them, that's how they get sexual release.
Is that normal, Dorcas? Is that normal? Is that normal? Surely. It's a critical thinker. Is that normal? Wanting pain. Is that normal?
You put too much premium on being normal. It's okay to be weird.
In fact, humans are weird.
Yes. like in my case, I like to be spanked a little. Yeah, I like to be spanked a little.
I wanted the word for climax in French. I forgot the name of climax. Yes, and that word means dying a little. So when we reach an orgasm, there's that level of pain where you feel like you are dying. And you survive, and after surviving, you look at this person, you nearly killed me. And she says, you two, you nearly killed me. Wow. And you are survivors. And it
Yes,
brings the
right.
bond together.
Hmm. So on that one, Morioki, those are your values. Don't impose them on others as long as there is consent. The problem is where there is no consent. If this is being forced on you, if the sadism or the masochism is being forced on you, there is a problem. That is sexual assault. But if you are the one seeking it out and you're giving this person the permission, then there's really no problem, Morioki. You need to free yourself from that religious mindset, because to me it is a religious mindset. But anyway, that is that. I also wanted to respond to something Juliana said. When she mentioned these pastors, she's like, sometimes they can espouse certain values verbally, but then behind the scenes, in the privacy of their own homes or in a hotel or an Airbnb, they become freaks. And that is so true, because that very pastor, I remember later, someone told me when I was still in the church that she reached out to him when she was having problems in her marriage for counsel. And he started making moves on her. And he told her he's into big boobs and she has big boobs. So he was asking her for boob pics. He was obsessed. And he would send her unsolicited dick pics. So this is the person who was saying kinkiness, adventure, no, in front of the cameras. But behind the scenes, there he is sending unsolicited dick pics. So I think there's that hypocrisy. And this is now the difference between the mindsets that we have when we are atheists versus when we are believers. The believer wants these things. They might even engage in these things, but they have to hide it. For us, we want these things just like any other human. We engage in these things and we don't hide. That's liberty in my book. That's amazing. So that's a comment I wanted to add. And then lastly, on this aspect of kinkiness, I think as a word of caution, and I'm siding with Morioki a little, just a little, please don't get excited, Morioki. I think what is crucial is communication when it comes to kinkiness, because there's a lady I follow on YouTube. She is a makeup artist. Nowadays, people focus on a particular craft and then they add a story time. So she was telling us a story time as she was applying a certain makeup look. And she said that there's a time she was obsessed with white men. She's a Kenyan. She was obsessed with white men because we as Black people, maybe we are racist against ourselves. We assume that white guys have money. So she wanted a moneyed guy. And she met this white guy from Germany. He's an engineer. He would be coming to Kenya to work on a certain project. They were building a dam somewhere. And the first time they weren't able to meet because the project was so demanding and he had to go back to Germany. But the second time they met and they hired a hotel. They rented a room. So when they met up, they had already had the sex conversation, and they had decided that they were going to do it that night, the night he came from the airport. So after she received him, she went to the airport with a taxi, received him, and they went to the hotel. The guy had warned her, he told her that he's kinky and he's into role play. So he asked her, do you like role play? And, she just agreed. She really didn't put her mind to it, and she just agreed. So the guy, when when they arrived in the hotel, he showered, etc. As she was there ready, hey, it's going down tonight. So the guy comes and he is wearing a mask of a lion. He's naked, but his head is covered. He looks like a lion. He's got that mane, and then he's got claws. So he comes at the woman and he's like, "Rah, rah." He's jumping up and down. Oh my God, she was terrified. She's like, what is wrong with him? He's coming over her. He's coming with the claws. She's like, God, please, no. But he's not getting it. He's so lost in the role. He's so excited about it until she started crying. So when she cried, that caught his attention. He's like, okay, is everything okay? She's like, no, it's not okay. What is wrong with you? So she just changed and left. She went home and blocked the guy. He's like, these white people, they are freaks. Yeah. So, moral of the story, communicate. Share with somebody what to expect. Don't spring on them, either metaphorically or literally, on this issue of kinkiness. Thank you.
Yeah. And what you say, story time, we do have a story also here in South Africa. It's where a person is not communicating their intentions. They agreed on tying each other, bondage, but the lady started, tie the man, and it was in a game reserve, then left him there for the whole weekend. It's the cleaning staff that found the guy after 2 days. And it surfaced that the woman was angry for something that happened the previous year when the man cheated. So yeah, caution should be should be exercised when you do such things. Okay, I think this one should be combined with the item right at the bottom. I decided to bring it up, item number 5, the porn and the adventurous and kinkiness, before we even get into gay sex, abortion, and other. So on the issue of porn, where there's a guilt when you hear about it from the pulpit, where also there's guilt even among different cultures. How has your being free from these rules and starting to think critically about issues, how has it affected you when it comes to that issue? Mireke?
Okay, thanks, Bulalang. Now, about porn, I read somewhere these actors they are exploited. Now, even as an atheist and a skeptic, I have a problem with porn because they say those actors are misused. Like what they do is not it's something like it's not right. So people take advantage of the women, especially the women. They are taken advantage of in those movies. Yeah, they are used. Yeah, they are used and abused.
Yeah.
So now even I still see porn as a problem for me. I still see porn as a problem. Thanks.
Yeah, there's an element of truth on the protection of territory, where a person is needed to work for a certain person, and if they dare go to another feed them or so, then they might even disappear. there are gangs in the industry. But not everybody is a gang there. There are couples that do their little thing as a couple, and they're doing it as a family. And it's a small business for home. How does it affect it? Black Messiah. Black Messiah, you were up and you disappeared. Oh, there you are.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and how are you?
I'm good. Okay, for me, what I think is that sex is sex. Sex is sex. Whether it's as long as you have agreed. As long as you have agreed, for me, I think that sex is sex. Sex should be taken as sex. That's why, like, I feel like that like we should not like that. That's me like we have whereby people say that there is this is what we call like the nini where you have sex with the minor where they call that like for me I feel like sex should be sex. Sex
Oh
should
yeah,
be called sex.
on the minor issue, it's a different one. That one we'll discuss when we come on discussing about morals, and I'll tell you why. You mentioned the word as long as you agree, and there's a better word for that. It's where there is consent, and we can break down on that word consent, what it means. So that means if there are two consenting adults, it's a different story than where it's an adult and somebody who is not yet strong to make a decision with an underdeveloped pre-cortex.
That's that
But
that's what
we'll come to that one. Now
that that
we
that's
are asking about watching people that are having sex, and even taking it to an industry where you can just pay to watch them, or you can go to a website and pay through adverts to watch people having sex. How did coming out of religion, or how does not being in religion affected your view towards that? I don't want us to confuse it with having sex with underage children, because that's a totally different topic.
okay. But I want to say this. For me, I feel like religion, like sex is sex. Like I used to be an SDA. I'm an SDA. I used to be an SDA before I became an atheist. So in SDA we like see like everything is a sin, but sex. When I was when I was an SDA, everything was a sin, but sex we used to do sex. Sex
Also,
was sex.
so it was not a sin.
It
So
wasn't
you'd not work Friday after 6, but you can beg
yeah, like sex we used to do we used to do sex. So sex
even
was
during
sex.
the Sabbath.
Yeah, sex was sex. Like like today today is a Sabbath school. Today is Sabbath. But when I was on an SDA, we used to do sex with some girls. Sex was sex. We used to do sex like sex wasn't a sin to us. Sex wasn't a sin. So we used to do sex. So like I don't.
Even though I think it was a sin, maybe, because you would not go and discuss it with the congregation, would you?
It was a sin, but to us it wasn't. So we used to used to have sex.
Uh-huh.
Everything to us was a sin, but sex was sex.
Yeah,
Like
it was an enjoyable sin.
We used to see sex like as a satisfaction to the body.
Okay.
I don't see
You know what? Then I've got a question here. Why would stealing for another person make a person feel guilty? Why would killing another person make a person feel guilty? And what other sins? There are a lot of sins that would make you feel bad. And why would this other one, people just be hypocrites and do it freely? That's a good question that would show something about sex. Why is it treated differently from other sins? The question is open to all of us here.
Bolela, my icons have disappeared. I can't raise my hand.
Oh, we can pray about it and they can come back. Okay, let's hear Dorcas.
As you see, I was not even able to turn off my camera, but it's to our advantage. At least one of us is being seen.
Oh, by the way, you've got a problem with the phone. Yeah.
Yes. You recall that time at the beginning, I logged out and...
Yes, I remember changing the name.
Yeah. I need to fix my screen, but the budget. Let me get...
Things will be fine, don't worry. Yeah.
All right. So on porn, allow me to combine it with masturbation. In my head, I always think, when I'm thinking of porn, I think of masturbation. Even on a personal level, I watch porn, but I don't watch porn for entertainment. The way you go and watch the latest Netflix series for entertainment, nobody watches porn for that. People watch porn to masturbate. It's an aid. It gets you there. It helps to get you there. It's a catalyst.
That's why it has so stupid stories.
Sorry?
I say that is why it's associated with stories with poor plots and...
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they never put any thought to it, those script writers. Yeah. So, porn and masturbation. Obviously, these are things that are frowned upon in the church. But when you leave religion, then there shouldn't be anything to hold you back from it. I am an advocate of masturbation, especially for women, because many women don't even know what gets them off, what turns them on. They don't know. So masturbation can be a method of self-exploration to know what works for you. Then you can express that to your partner when the time comes, when you get one. You can tell them, this is how I like to be touched. If you go to that spot, I will go crazy. I will be obsessed with you. You know, you can be direct about it. You can communicate your preferences, and that can increase your sexual satisfaction as a woman.
Yeah,
but
because
even
you understand yourself.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And for porn, as I said, I perceive it to be an aid, that it's something that helps to get there. You see, if you have a partner, the partner will warm you up. They will, yeah, they will prepare you for the journey, in other words. But when you're alone, now there's nobody. There's nobody to kiss you. There's nobody to play with your boobs, etc. So porn is the one that substitutes for that. So it can be an aid. And my attitude is that everything in moderation is fine, because these things can be beneficial. Even porn itself, it is helpful in that it helps to get you there, and it can also give you a few ideas here and there on sexual pleasure. So it can be beneficial. However, there's also a downside, which Morioki started with. He said that it can be oppressive to some women. And it's usually women, but also men anyway. It can be oppressive in that you are controlled by some sort of pimp, and there are a lot of restrictions, or you might have an inordinate number of people that you need to have sex with a day. Sometimes maybe you are not feeling well, or you have an STD, but they're still telling you proceed, so it can be a bit problematic. But as I said, nuance, Morioki nuance. Not everything is black and white. There are people who independently join the porn industry, and they work for themselves. There's this thing called OnlyFans. Morioki, do you know about OnlyFans?
No, I don't. What's that? No.
It's modern. It was not there.
Back in
The
his
past
days.
5 years, it was not there.
Oh,
Because
Yeah,
okay.
what's that?
Yeah, because now youths talk openly about it. During an interview, they can say, career, I've got an OnlyFans channel, and nobody frowns upon it.
Yeah, so Morioki, OnlyFans is a platform on social media that can be TikTok, it can be, usually it's TikTok, where somebody has an OnlyFans page where if you pay a premium price, you are able to see her performing sexual acts on herself, or you are able to see her being naked. You're able to see her nudes or his nudes. Even men have OnlyFans, by the way. But they tend to target gay men. Women, I think we are very stingy when it comes to spending money. You're like, hey, me, I pay for sex. Never, ever. When it is so free all over. This is
And there are
cheap.
couples also.
Oh, yes, there are also couples. So it's sex work, but it's online. Yeah, it is online. So you find that the person is sharing nudes, or they are sharing sexy scenes with the people who have paid that premium price. That's why they are called the fans, only fans. Yeah. So with OnlyFans, Morioki, nobody has hired you. You are your own boss. And you can determine the working conditions. You can decide that I will never have sex with any of those men. I will show them my nudes, or I will play with myself, but I'll never meet them. Then they are, but you're still showing you're still making porn in one shape or another. Yeah, you're still making porn. So there's that. And then there are also online dating websites. I've heard from my friends, my male friends who are on online dating apps. They tell me that those places are flooded with prostitutes who pose as regular ladies who are out to get a date. They pose as that. But then when you match them on the dating app, she tells you she needs you to send her fare. She needs you to send her money to do her hair. You know, she'll extract money from you. And eventually, when you add 2 and 2 together, you realize, kumbe, she's a prostitute at the end of the day. So there are those people, and usually, in fact, there's a friend of mine who was telling me the moment he matched with this lady, she sent him a video of herself masturbating. Yeah. So he found out that she does porn, but she's going directly to the market. She's not using Pornhub or that XX something, you know, those common porn websites. She's not using those. She's going directly to the market. So nobody's oppressing her. It's actually liberating
She
the
has a
porn
niche
actor.
market when we talk
Exactly.
business language.
Aha. So Morioki, don't assume that everybody's oppressed. Yeah, don't assume that everybody's oppressed. In fact, a considerable number, it is the minority. A considerable number are doing it willingly and they're happy with the money because it's quick money. Yeah, in the porn industry. So there's that element. Now, then the downside I wanted to bring, I know I've talked a lot. I'm just about to finish. The downside I wanted to bring out on porn and masturbation is the risk of addiction. There is a category of men who've gotten so used to that combination. It is usually called PMO, porn, masturbation, and orgasm. They've gotten so used to that combination that when they meet up with a real woman, not a virtual one, they meet up with a real woman and they're required to have sex with her, they can't rise to the occasion because they are so used to that sensation of their own hand. And maybe even the technique they use is a bit, ni kunyonga. In Kiswahili, we call it kunyonga, strangling. Like you're really strangling it when you're doing it. Don't strangle. Be gentle on yourself so that you don't desensitize yourself to a woman's body. But that is not the majority of people. There's a category of people who become addicted to porn and masturbation. They're not the majority. I just had to bring it out as a word of caution because everything when taken to extremes is poisonous. Yeah, that's what I had to say. Thank you.
And adding to that, I say adding to that also, it's the level of dissatisfaction because you talked about this man. It can be to any gender because when you look at the people who are paid to do it, who are now professionals, and now you go to the real world and you find people, normal people, and you compare them to those porn stars, then there can be a level of dissatisfaction that affects a person mentally if a person is a weak mind. The other one, maybe you see people there who from the screen, they look like they're performing for 90 minutes and you don't see when they stop because you can say cut, they go and they relax and do whatever, eat and come back to it and start where they finished. the person who's watching won't see it. And they come and then their partner takes 18 minutes and says, no, you are weak. Why? 18 minutes, I'm tired, man. Says, no. Why 80 minutes? I saw somebody doing it for 92 minutes. 92 minutes non-stop. Says, now you are lying. Says, I'm telling you. So there might be a level of unreal situations that are seen there, or acrobatics that are impossible in real life, where a partner might lose a neck or something if they are required to do that. Now stand like this. No, I got no. You see, so a level of sense should be put in that also, to know that this is entertainment. This is a person who's not matured enough to differentiate between the two, then they are not fit for that. Sorry about that. Wait. Let me. Okay. I'm back. Then, okay, we were there. So we combined those two. Dealt with both of them. So this one. Okay, then we know in religion also that they twisted some verses to point to same-sex as something that is a sin, even though when you search the Bible and you look at other translations, you find that there's no place where it's talking about it as a sin. But we know most people in Africa, they honestly think that it's a sin because of their religious background. Since the time that you left religion and looking at the world not through the glasses of religion, how has it affected the way that you deal with gay people? Or if you are gay, if you are lesbian, how has it given you the liberty to live? Hang on, let me, that call confused my screen here. Okay, Mireke.
Yeah, thanks, Brother Lang. For me, again, even if I left religion, I keep on saying all of us came from sex. All of us here in this group, in this Zoom meeting, came from sex. So if you're having sex in another way, I still have a problem with that because you all came from sex. Right?
Yes, that's the basic thing that it's like breathing. We all breathe, and yeah, we all eat, and we are all born because of sex, except a few that happen through laboratory inseminations and things like that. But those are very rare. I'll fix my problem. Dorcas?
Yes, I can't raise my hand, so it's
Oh,
okay. You can
physically.
always.
Yeah.
Now, Aki Morioki, what do we do with you? This is why Dr. Luchaveleli says that you have religious hangovers. You still have not been able to shed that religious mindset of yours. You say that all of us came from sex, so somehow that makes gay sex bad. That makes gay sex immoral in your mind. But I would have you know that the reproductive angle is not a requirement for everybody. It's not a must for everybody to give birth. Even you as Morioki, you don't have kids. You don't have kids, and you've lived probably 3/4 of your life. And you even said that they're not in the picture. You probably will not have kids. So start with yourself. Before you start pointing fingers at gay people, start with yourself. If you think that it is everybody's biological destiny to give birth, start with yourself and give birth. It's not a must. We are overpopulated. There are 8 billion people on this earth. So let's not feel threatened that because 10% of the population is gay, that we will not be able to give birth. It's neither here nor there. If they don't give birth, it's okay. Many of us who are straight also don't give birth, either because of our circumstances or by choice. There are people who are child-free or who are antinatalists. So that is a moot point. And for the gay people that wish to have kids, they can have kids. I've told you this before. Women don't need to be aroused by a man in order to become pregnant. So I can be a lesbian. Then when I decide I want to have a child, I can make an arrangement with a man. He comes and has sex with me, even though maybe I'm not attracted to him, but he can just have sex with me, and he makes me pregnant. I gave you the example of my neighbor. They were 2 lesbians living together, and they have a daughter. The daughter was from one of the ladies who had sex with a man. Yeah, she had sex with a man. So there's that very simple route. But then there's the technological route where you can go to a sperm bank and pick the man you want. This one is intelligent, this one is tall, this one is this and that. He's a Kikuyu, maybe this person wants a Kikuyu baby. So you pick that one, and you are inseminated with that sperm, and you have a kid. It happens. Insemination happens all the damn time. So if your concern is that gay people will not have sex, they can and they do. They're still biologically capable of. And the ones that choose not to have kids are well within their right to not have kids, in the same way that you are well within your right to not have a kid at this point in your life. So that's what I had to say on that. Now, generally speaking, on this topic of gay sex, I think that when you become a secularist, when you leave the faith, that it is, you don't have the burden of the church. Because the Bible, you know, Bolelami was saying that there's no verse that forbids it. Actually, they're there. There are verses. There's a verse in the Old Testament, Leviticus 20:13, which says, if a man practices homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman, both men have committed a detestable act and must be put to death. That is Leviticus 20:13. And then
before we pass Leviticus,
yes,
the word homosexual, where did Leviticus know about the word homosexual? What was the word that was used for it before? And there where it says with another man, in the original text it says boy, not man. So there's those two inconsistencies. The word homosexual was not there, then they changed boy to man.
But it can be argued, Bolelang, when he says that you have sex with, okay, even if we put boy, because a boy is still a male. Of course, the aspect of
No,
minor.
it's child abuse.
Yes, it's child abuse, but it is homosexual child abuse. It involves the same sex.
Yeah.
What about
Deep study about that verse. You'll see that it has been changing over the years, so that it fits the narrative.
Because you can even disregard the homosexuality bit, but you say, if a man practices homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman, as with a woman, having sex with another man, I don't know. To me, it seems as though it's talking about having sex with the same gender. I don't know about translation. I don't know. But from that superficial reading, without doing an exegesis, I would think that the verse says so. Regardless, there's also another verse in the New Testament. Oops, I did not write it down, but it was
Romans.
Sorry?
Romans.
Yes, I think it was Romans, which said that the following people will not inherit the kingdom of God: adulterers, I don't know, slanderers, and then it added homosexuals. So it is also in the New Testament.
Which is a new word, homosexuals.
Now, I don't know.
There's a lot of biases that entered these churches that should be investigated. We can't trust them.
Okay.
Just like they've managed to insert hell also in the Bible.
I will do my research on that aspect. But I thought I was just reading the Bible as any other normal Christian would read it, because most Christians don't consider the history, etc., the actual origin of the word. Then they just read what they are seeing and they follow it. So even if it was changed, even if it meant it was forbidding child abuse as the original context, that's not how the modern reader would interpret it. Because what we care about is how is the modern Christian reading the Bible and how is it affecting their behavior. And if they read that verse as it is, it will cause them to develop homophobia. And a number of them, I can say in response to that, even if they choose to remain as believers, I can tell them that why should you follow such a command of putting somebody to death for their sexuality? Nobody even does that anyway. Christians don't do it. They will just shun you, but they won't kill you for being homosexual. So it shows you that even them, they have evolved. They've evolved
in Kenya.
when it comes. Sorry?
In Kenya, maybe. In South Africa, here in the 70s, you die. You die, they would stone you or stab you. So that is why the gay people started walking around as gangs. So if somebody discovers that they are homosexual, they leave home and go and live with other homosexuals, and they live in big groups. But also even next door to you there in Uganda,
yes,
you disclose yourself in Uganda, you're in trouble there also. In Nigeria.
And Ghana.
Even Ghana,
Ghana lately.
Ghana.
They passed those legislations. And a deep part of explaining their hatred towards gays is the Bible, is religion. Most of them use religion and they say that this is something that was condemned in the Bible. But then what I tell them is, why are you picking and choosing what you're condemning? That same Bible, because they like to quote that one of Leviticus. That same Bible tells you in Deuteronomy 21:18-21, stubborn and religious children are to be stoned to death. So why don't they also follow that? If any child is disobedient to their parent, why don't they stone them to death?
Yeah. And at Latin.
Sorry?
And at Latin, there's a verse that talks about a person who said Latin, that they have to be stoned to death.
Aha.
And I know a lot of men who are Latins, men. They eat until their stomachs are full.
Imagine you kill somebody for just eating. You know, it's ridiculous, and most Christians know better. They don't act on that impulse. So, but I was trying to give a context of what religion teaches you, and applying the same, and contrasting that to a secular perspective, in that we don't have any dogma or any scripture to make us hate homosexuals. In fact, for me, that is one idea that changed radically when I became an atheist. I used to discriminate against homosexuals. I used to hate them. I just thought it was a choice, and many of them, I thought it was a choice. I thought it was unnatural, until we had a meeting in the early days, those days before we started streaming on YouTube. We had a meeting about gay people, about gazing in general. And Maurice came with a PowerPoint presentation. He showed us how homosexuality has been observed in about 400 primate species. Not just primates, but it's primates, because primate is the big one before, is the genus, I believe.
Mm.
Now we are part of the
especially
animal
bonobos
kingdom.
that are so close to us.
Yes. So by the fact that it has been observed in nature means that it is not unnatural. So me claiming that I should condemn these people because it's unnatural, but you can see it with animals, it shows that it's not unnatural. It's not unnatural, and even it's not a choice for some people. I have to acknowledge nuance. I think there are people who choose to be gay when circumstances push them, like in prison. You know, you're in prison, you are sexually frustrated, and they're just women around you. So you become gay for the stay. But then there are others who have no choice. Like, even if you got them the most handsome man, she will feel nothing. She'll feel nothing for him, but she'll be attracted to a woman.
Another woman.
Or if he's a man. Sorry?
I say they will be attracted to another woman. Mm.
They'll be attracted to another woman. Yes. So for men, it's the same. You might find that this man, even if you bring a spice with before she lost her booty, I'm told she's on Ozempic, that pill, the weight loss pill, so she's lost her butt. So before she lost her butt, she's pretty and all, and she seduces this gay man, he will not rise to the occasion. He'll feel zero, because it's just innate. And maybe they had that feeling from the time they were a child. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for some people, it is not a choice, and we mustn't impose our values on them. We mustn't force them to live a certain way when it is unnatural to them to live that way. They would be pretending and forcing things. So for me, I think living religion helps. However, and I know I've spoken for long. This is the last thing I'm about to say on this subtopic. However, we have so many homophobes in our group. Today and yesterday, I have not read my messages today, but yesterday the messages were predominantly between homophobes, men who hate gay men and gay sex, and one guy who was defending gay sex. I think he might be gay. He didn't say categorically. He might be, because he had a lot of information which I've never had before from that end. And I consider myself to be educated on those things. But we also have other gay men open on our group, and people have been very negative towards them.
Why don't you mention the homophobe? He's right here. Why don't you mention him? He's right. We have one of them right here, Black Messiah.
In fact, when I think about a homophobe, it's like me involving myself in sex of dogs when they're having sex there. Say, no, those dogs, why are they having sex? It's not me, it's those dogs. If it's chickens, they're having sex, it's chicken sex there. It's natural to them. If I'm having it with a woman, they don't come and say, hey, why are you sleeping with a woman? They are not in my way at all. So why should I disturb them? In fact, I stopped becoming homophobe, still being a Christian, because I've seen children that I knew from an age that, no, this is not a boy, or this is not a girl. They just have that gender. And all those children, when they grow up, it happens like I saw. I said, oh, okay, no, this thing is natural. I've observed it. That's another advantage of being 60.
By the way, Bolelam, on that note, now that El Maestro has named somebody, can we hear from him? Black Messiah, what is your perspective on gay sex? Are you there?
Is he around?
He might have fallen asleep. He might have fallen asleep. Anyway, as I finish, I think we have a lot of negativity towards the gay community in secular circles. I think it is conflated with culture, because even African culture is against gayism. So it's conflated with culture, and also those might be remnants from religion. You know, those are after effects of it. But I find that specifically they target gay men compared to lesbians. There's a tolerance for lesbians and a disdain for gay men because of the concept of anal. So it's a pity. I wish we opened our mind. I wish we did research on this issue and realized that it's not immoral. As long as something doesn't harm other individuals and it involves consenting adults, it's none of our business to impose our values on them. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think we should also remember that one of the things that made us to live a religion is to see the injustices there. I take myself to be a humanist before even being an atheist. My being a humanist made me see a lot of things that are not fair to humanity happening in the church. Hi, Maruki.
Thanks, Brother Lam. I want to ask Talkers a question. I had gay sex affects the anus. Is that true? Something happens to the anus with time? Is that true or false?
How does it affect the anus?
Okay.
You say, how does it affect the anus?
Oh man, we want to be graphic.
Yeah, but
You can use scientific words
words,
because
yeah.
we don't understand it. We don't understand affect how.
But it's not mine. It's somebody's who enjoys it, and who's inclined that way. So why should I worry about his whole?
Yeah, it might harm. It might harm. It might harm him or eventually.
Yeah, then they get pets. They get pets. They put in pets.
Because it was not.
Bonelan, you're saying they put in pets.
Yes, sanitary pets.
Oh, okay. South African English. I was hearing pets, P-E-T-S. So I was thinking.
Oh no.
Oh,
no, sanitary pet.
pad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, because the anus was not meant for dick. Dick and anus were never meant to meet. That has come later on. Dick and anus were never meant to meet.
Yeah, but that's how you see it. It's not how the other person sees it. And they are not interested in any other thing. Here they are male, they see a woman, they don't get an erection. They see a man and they say, wow, I want that man here.
Yes.
So how do you know he was not meant to do it? Who decides?
On that point, I now wonder why there are some men who now they are gay, but now they convert their pets to become like a woman. Aren't you supposed to be attracted to a man? I wonder why now they convert themselves to be women. That's the thing I've never understood.
In fact, if you check the emotional cost of wanting to change yourself, somebody would not just get into that journey for no reason. It costs money. It costs friendships, relationships. There must be something there that feels good with them to do that. And I don't see myself involved in their business because they are not hurting me and they are not killing anybody in the process. And I've seen also the fear that our children will go that way. No, as I say, even in the family, I've seen children that I knew that no, these ones, they're not going to be heterosexuals, and they turn that way. And they never influence the others. Others who are interested in the opposite sex, they're still interested in the opposite sex. So that it will turn other children, it's a lie also. I don't know, there's something irrational about it, about us people meddling in affairs that are not our affairs.
So Bolelang, allow me to respond to Morioki because he directed the question to me and also to El Maestro's comment. Morioki, we don't know, we are not gay men. There's an open gay guy. I know of a closeted gay guy on our group. But then there's one that declared openly he's gay and he's a bottom. So he receives from men. You can ask him. He's called Dying Star. His username is Dying Star. So you can ask him that. You can ask him that and how he protects himself, because obviously Whenever there's a problem, people will find a solution. But off the top of my head, I can imagine that the solution to that, or the cause of, for perhaps hemorrhoids, hemorrhoids that can be formed in the anal passage, could be because of friction when you go in there when it's dry. So a solution to it would be lube. Use lubricant. When you use lubricant, there's no resistance, and so your skin will not form those sores. So there's a solution.
So, Doctors, what you're saying shows it's a natural. All that work shows it's not something natural. All that work of putting oil or something just shows it's not natural. That's evidence.
It's not natural. It's not natural to you. It doesn't matter. This concept of being obsessed with the natural. To you equate natural to good. Because something is natural, it's good. Because something is not natural, it's bad. And you are wrong. That's illogical thinking. You're thinking illogically. Because this phone we are using is not natural, but it's good. It's helping us. So, your argument is valid.
Don't compare that with sexuality. Don't compare the two. Stop doing that. Why do you do that here?
You don't understand comparisons. You don't understand comparisons. There's something wrong with your head. Like you don't. When I try to use an analogy, you always use that. Like, don't compare. Yes, I will. I will compare because I can. Who are you to tell me not to compare? but it's not helping me communicate with you because you lack the capacity to understand analogies. You've got a problem, Morioki. But what I can tell you is, even if something is not quote unquote natural, in that it doesn't have the anal passage does not have natural lubricant like the vaginal passage.
Thank you.
We can yes, that does not make it bad. That does not make it immoral. Because we can work around it. We can use even Vaseline. There are some people, they don't have a lot of resources to buy KY jelly, so they use Vaseline. And it serves the purpose. Yeah.
And they discovered
Vaseline.
They discovered that nature put G-spot inside there. So why did I say? I'm telling Miruki that they discovered that nature has put in a G-spot in there.
There you go, Morioki. Why is the male G-spot in the anal passage? Answer that question. Yeah. Why is it in the anal? Why is the male G-spot? You know a G-spot. Yeah. Why is the male G-spot in the anal passage? If you want to claim it's not natural.
Yeah.
Why?
I'll say I don't know. Do you know? You don't. No one knows. No one knows that. Nobody knows.
Yeah. So accept
no one knows.
So you need to accept, because you don't know, just accept that they have decided to harness that G-spot. In fact, straight men that don't explore are cutting off one aspect of pleasure, that don't explore the backside. So don't go around saying, oh, it's not natural because it doesn't have lube, but it's also natural because it has a G-spot. It's amazing. They feel amazing, those men, those who are bottoms. So anyway, with you, Morioki, we go back
and we cut it. We cut it not because we don't want to enjoy it, but because we just find other men not attractive, and it's natural. The one who finds other men attractive, then they can do what they want.
Actually, I'm happy you brought that out, because now they are straight men, men who are attracted to women, who like it when their women maybe use their finger behind there, or they use an object on them. Yeah, I've heard of my friends I even dated a guy who wanted me to do that. I had my inhibitions. Maybe I'm not as adventurous as kinky, but I've had my other friends who've done that on their straight boyfriends. So you might not be attracted to men, but you want to explore that side. And you tell your girlfriend to do so. So, Morioki, don't go judging gay people for the anal passage when straight people also explore. Some gay people, of course, not all. Some gay people also explore that passage. But anyway, with Morioki, we go back and forth on this topic on the group. It's become like vomit. Like we can't finish 3 weeks without it coming up on the WhatsApp group, and Morioki will regurgitate the same arguments and will try to explain to him how those arguments don't hold water, but he will be adamant. So, wherever Morioki, you are a lost cause. I will leave you there. Now, for El Maestro, he's saying he does not understand how some men, now the gay men, they become women in this department. No, they don't become women. If somebody has not identified as trans, we just have men who are attracted to other men. They're just gay men. They're not trans. They're not calling themselves women. They're just gay men. They're just bottoms in that they want to be penetrated by another man. You wanting to be penetrated by another man does not make you a woman. And in fact, that is one of the reasons behind stigma towards gay men, because society despises women. Anything effeminate, anything feminine on men is seen as bad. So if a man cries, if a man is emotional, if a man is nurturing, is called feminine, and that's bad. So gay men as well are demeaned by society because they play the role of receiving, which is stereotypically associated with women, and women are often regarded as second-class citizens. So that's one of the reasons. Another one is just the concept of disgust, that people think, yuck, and all that is the place that is supposed to be an exit. It's a sewage system, and you are using. So there's the aspect of disgust, and then there's the aspect of men receiving, and that being equated to being a woman. It's not. It's just a man who wants to be penetrated by another man. He's not a woman. So we mustn't conflate those two issues. And on the issue of disgust is not a standard for morality. I can be disgusted by people who eat snails, but that doesn't mean that I forbid them from doing it. Or I can be disgusted by people who wear dirty clothes, but that does not make them immoral. Disgust is not a standard for morality, and it's none of my business what people are doing in the privacy of their homes. Thank you.
Yeah, talking about snails, you don't understand snails, but yeah, you don't see me complaining about it. And my partner eats snails, and I don't find her disgusting. Yeah, so we can mind our own business in our own departments, do what suits us, as long as we don't cause harm to other people. And meddling into other people's affairs, that is causing them harm. Now they have to go to counseling. They have to adjust their self-worth because they feel that people don't like them. So if you can see it from the viewpoint of that person, you'll see that you are causing unnecessary emotional damage on other people. We have dealt with gays that, yeah, now we come on the issue of abortion. As religious people, we know that this issue is not even discussed. You go to the Bible Belt in America, you find that they can even attack houses of people who talk about abortion. How has your view changed since you left religion? Or maybe because you are religious on issues of abortion? Myoreke?
If you get pregnant by accident, just give it out for adoption. Don't kill it, because it is a guilt. I think I once mentioned those women at times they get a guilt conscious. They think they are okay, but as they get older, they feel very guilty that they killed their child. So just give it out for adoption. Should be an option. Adoption, not kill.
I'm talking about a person who wants to abort. How do we come into the picture? A person who's not even prepared, who's not prepared to be pregnant, because even being pregnant, you know, imagine being pregnant for 9 months, then the next thing you come back to your society without a child. Now you made it public. Whereas if you could have aborted it at 1 month, when they say, now I've missed my period, they say, oh, take this tablet, and you drink the tablet, there's no even physical intervention. The fetus is gone. It's just a clot of blood. Why should they wait and give it away to someone?
There's this thing called guilt conscious. It's very bad. As they get older, it makes their life, as they get older, the guilt. What did I do this? What did I killed a child? That guilt is terrible.
I wonder how many sperms I've wasted, and I don't remember ever worrying about all the sperms that I wasted. I've got only 4 children, but I've released millions, trillions of sperms. Never even think about them.
But this one got into our body. It got into our body. It was growing. It was developing. At least it was developing.
Yeah, a sperm has a tail. It swims. It searches for an egg when it's in a woman. But a lot of sperms, I never even took them inside a woman's body. Some that were in a man's body, they were swimming, looking for an egg, and we were putting in some foreign object in the woman's womb, so that when they meet an egg, they just meet and they're flushed out without attaching to the wall. And nobody talks about death there. Why? Why do you want to make them feel guilty? Is it loving to do that? Because that guilt doesn't just come. It comes from people who are busy saying, hey, you killed. You are a murderer. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, that guilt could be natural. It could be come like for a human being, it's natural to feel guilty. That's natural for a human being.
What regrets?
Yeah, regrets, guilt. It's a natural thing. We all have it, I think. Most of us have it. When things go wrong, you make a mistake, that guilt, regret will come automatically. So it's automatic.
And counseling?
Yeah, that might help. Yeah, that might help. Yeah, I agree. Actually,
Some
can't make any
of us can analyze situations and do self-counseling within a day or so of doing something. I can just deal with it and see that, okay, tomorrow this thing is not going to serve me. And off it goes. Why should I keep myself in the past? But that's another topic. And why should you keep other people in the past if it was inconvenient for them? Oh, I see Juliana there.
Yeah, thank you, Balalan. Very interesting topic. So on abortion, how do I feel about abortion before and after? Well, I shared earlier that I grew up Catholic, and Murioki talks about guilt conscious. Man, the Catholics know how to do it. They know how to nail it, such that even when you're grown up and you leave Catholicism, it's still in you. It really has to be gradually come up. So when I was a Catholic, when I was practicing, I used to hear about ladies or women who'd get pregnant and who'd have abortion. I was very judgmental. Right off the bat, I'd go to, oh my God, they're bad. Oh my God. And again, oh my God, I'm using it as a cuss word. So I would say, oh my God, they are bad. They won't go to heaven. I don't want to associate with them because of religion. Once I left all that behind, I look at those individuals who are in those situations where they have an unwanted pregnancy, knowingly or unknowingly. I look at them with compassion. Not only do I do that, but if they approach me, and I've been approached once or twice, say, hey, I don't have enough money to pay for an abortion. Can you lend me money? I have given money to get those young ladies, okay, there's about one or two, to get them to have abortions. Because now I look at them as a person. There is nothing about guilt or nothing about sin, nothing about that. First of all, it is their body. That is what they choose to do. Who am I to impose my judgmental self on them, telling them they shouldn't do it? People who say, oh, get pregnant 9 months and then give it away for abortion. Do you know how tough it is? Carry something for 9 months that you do not want. Just the toll on your physical and emotional well-being is not good. They shouldn't be able to do that. Abortion, if someone wants to abort, as I said, they're not affecting me, they can go ahead and do it. And if they want support from me, I will give them support, even if it includes driving them to the hospital, bringing them to stay with me. I will do that. And that all changed because of my letting go of those archaic religious beliefs that I was grown with. So that's what I say about that. As far as I like Boleland's comparison with the millions and trillions of sperms that get wasted. There are some other family planning devices used by women. I know technology has changed since then, but the IUD is a sort of a coil thing. I think I saw the doctor online. Hopefully he's here to correct me. Yeah, the coil, the IUD, from what I understand, the IUD is there and it prevents pregnancy by forcing an abortion every month. So if you talk about abortion, there's so many abortions happening all the time. We just don't know about them. As for me, no judgment. You want to get an abortion? Put up your hand and I'll help you. That's what my position has been. And I'm so happy about that. No judgment. That's where I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana. And I've noticed that people that are under that stress, they need support. They need support. In South Africa now, it's legal. During the time that even the government was making it illegal, they would need support because it has to be done by the dark alleys. And imagine if you add on top of that Lucevelli. Wait, let me try to get it. Every time I miss all the syllables. Lucevelli. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you actually got it right this time. Thank you very much. Okay, mine, I will also like to say that, yeah, I happen to be raised by Catholics. I wouldn't say that I was ever Catholic. But once I approached the age of reason, I just started to doubt. So I never really identified as believing in what Catholics believe. However, I attended the catechism classes, and I got to realize one thing about abortion, that they like to throw around and they like to guilt trip people around. To them, to the Catholics or to Christians in general, or to the religious people in general, I sort of tend to understand why they will be opposed to, abortion. Because number one, it's a threat to their numbers. When you look at religion and church in general, it's something that has been growing across generations. So anything, even if it's not that significant, even if it's just a female, a single female carrying an abortion, to a religious person, to a very religious person, to them they perceive it as a threat. That one, it's not only a sin, but it's also threatening our numbers. Number two, if my kids now ape what you're doing, we won't really have any future generation. So those are their fears. And when you look at the mental dynamics, they try to pull on you just to convince you that abortion is something not even worth thinking of. Just as someone has said, they would like to guilt trip people. And from what I've heard, for instance, what Muruki was saying, while it's true that yes, some who have procured abortion might end up having regret, but that's not even half. That's not even close to half of those who have procured abortions, medical abortions, to speak. Yeah. So at any moment when you are asked that, and then you bring out that as a rebuttal, no, it doesn't make sense. Number one, and it's not being honest. It's not being honest because it's not everyone gets such regrets. And number two, it's like you're using the same logic which religion apparently uses. It loves to generalize. Yeah. So, for instance, when you observe how they like to guilt trip people, and they love to to fearmonger that you will have regrets. Some of the reasons people use to procure abortions, or the validity of those abortions, some of them will even outweigh whatever guilt you're talking of. For instance, if it's a lady who has been raped by a father or a relative or an uncle, you want to tell me that just because you want to scare them off by telling them that you will regret procuring this abortion, and yet that's an incest baby she's sort of raised, it's sort of growing in a womb. So it doesn't really make any sense to tell anyone that, what, you shouldn't procure an abortion because you will come to regret it. There are very many reasons why a lady would want to procure an abortion. Personally, my views are actually choice. So it kind of makes sense because once I realize how religion runs and why it's opposed to abortion and use whatever fear tactics to to discourage such, and it's not like people procuring abortion will even be a threat to their growing numbers, but they're just their insecurities coming out in very big forms. So I will say that the fact that I left religion, I think I was able to have a holistic picture of why people procure abortion. It's not just a sin, um, just as, for instance, the church teaches that. But once you view it from other perspectives, you realize, yes, uh, probably because someone doesn't want to, it's her choice. She doesn't want to carry that baby to term. Number two, it could be an incest baby. Number three, it could be very limiting. It's like a punishment to the lady. So yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with choice. Choice. So you have to be right. Yep. So that's what. And also, yeah.
We are
And
we are
also,
losing your sound.
am I audible right now?
Oh yes.
Oh, Okay, yeah, I think I've said all I can for now. I think I'll just stick around and see how it goes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lucheveleli. Yeah. Then I come to Meruike.
Okay, thanks, Bulalang. Okay, Eugene, rape is different. With its rape is a different case. So rape is not in this. So now I want to ask Eugene and Julian. We say we are a critical thinker. So can you say guilt and regret is not religious, it's human? As in guilt and regret, whether you're an atheist, Christian, it comes automatically. It doesn't matter what you believe in. It's a human thing in all of us. So whether you're religious, you're a skeptic, agonist, the guilt and regret automatic. Is that accurate? Thanks.
Moruki,
Yeah.
is that a question you're asking, or that's a statement you're?
Yeah. It's not.
That's a
My
question
point is,
you're asking.
yes. It's not religious. It's not. It's a natural human thing. Not because of religion. You feel guilty naturally. It's natural.
But what has guilt got to do with, a lady just wanting to get an abortion, a medical abortion? What has guilt got to do with anything? Just as I said, it's really dishonest of you to sort of dismiss or assume that everyone who wants to get an abortion, they will most likely have guilt. That's a wrong assumption, and it's not even backed by anything. Because once again, I will ask you, do you have any data? Do you have any data to assume? Because we can't work with the assumption that, okay, let's assume that everyone who wants to get an abortion, chances 100% they will get guilt. How does that work? Is there any data that you can work? Because logic doesn't really work like that. We can't go on assuming that everyone who gets an abortion will most likely have guilt. Yes, guilt, it's very natural. It's one of the natural emotions we have. But what's the basis of your assumption? Why are you forcing all of us to assume, and why do you want me to confirm your assumption? So that's what I would ask you. And as a critical thinker, just as you said, as a critical thinker, I want you to think around that assumption carefully, and then you respond. Don't just respond for the sake of responding.
Yeah, so Eugene, I'm saying don't compare, don't say that it's because of religion, it's religion doing it. No, it's coming automatically. That's my point. Don't say it's religion's fault. It's a human thing that comes from our brain. It's not religion, it's the human mind.
Muruki, where have I said that guilt is sort of religion, or where have I said that? I don't understand where you're coming from.
You mentioned that the guilt, that religion makes them, it guilt trips them, it guilt trips people. Religion, I'm saying,
yes, it does that. It does.
Yeah, and my point is, whether atheist or religious, it will still come automatically, naturally. That's my point. No matter who you are,
I don't think
in fact, yeah, I think, Meruike, even the issue of guilt, when you can sit with it and compare guilt of a person who's a logical thinker and a person who's not a logical thinker, you'll see that a logical thinker can deal with guilt successfully. Then a person who is illogical, they will be imagining things, and those things are going to send them to a mental asylum, not because they are real, but because they keep on thinking about these stories that are created around this. And who's creating these stories about things that are bad? I think it's some cultures and religion. Okay, Dorcas.
I thought it's automatic. I thought it's natural. It's automatic. I thought it's automatic. The human mind works automatic. That's what I thought. It's automatic.
Yeah. I'm imagining killing a person who was trying to attack me. I'll be worried about it maybe for the weekend, thinking about other alternative methods I could have used. But next week I'll be fine. I survived and he nearly killed me. Now, it's a person who rationalized too much and think that they are bad. don't think I'm better. It's situational. I had to do that on that time. I don't think I could have acted differently. Dorcas?
Okay. It seems as though Morioki is holding brief for conservatives in our midst. And we have conservative atheists, by the way. Now, I will respond to his objection later. Let me concentrate on your question, which is how has your perspective on abortion changed after leaving religion? For me, I think I've always been pro-choice. I've always been a feminist. I've always been about upholding women's rights from way back. In fact, that was the reason that I left Christianity, one of the major ones. So my perspective has not changed per se on abortion because I've always been pro-choice. But now the justification and maybe a few qualifications on abortion have altered slightly because at the end of the day, we are skeptics and we need to believe things for good reasons. We need to rely on evidence, not hearsay, rumors, or our intuition. No, we go with evidence. So the first reason why I am pro-choice is because consent to sex is not consent to a pregnancy. Just because I had sex, it does not mean that I want to have a child. The two do not follow. So in the event that a pregnancy arises when I did not consent to it, I consented to the sex, but I did not consent to the pregnancy, then I have the right to terminate. Point number 2 is on the issue of body autonomy. That is the reason why abortion is different from murder. Because murder does not happen between two entities that are depending, one is depending on the other's body for survival. Okay? I would equate abortion to somebody who is in an ICU ward. Then they realize that their body is supporting a second human being, a full adult, let's imagine. And let's imagine that the full adult is a famous person. Maybe they are the president of our country or the president of the most powerful nation. Let me not call it powerful, but the most popular nation, the United States. Let's say I wake up from a coma and realize that my body is supporting the existence of President Donald Trump.
Hey,
do you know if Sorry?
I say, don't tell horror stories. I'm still going to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Don't have comparisons.
Okay.
Morioki, stop it. I'm not talking to you. You lack a capacity to understand comparisons, but the other people on our YouTube channel who understand comparisons. So please shut up. This is not for you. Now, I am explaining the issue of body autonomy. So I wake up, find myself in the ICU, and realize that President Donald Trump is relying on my organs, on my blood, on my entire body for survival because somehow his biological functions have broken down. In that circumstance, me as Dorcas, I have the right to terminate my connection to Donald Trump, even if he's an important person in society. If some people think he's the most important person in the world. he is abusing my body autonomy. I have a right to terminate somebody's use of my body. Likewise, when a mother is pregnant, when a woman is pregnant, the fetus she's carrying is depending on her body. And she has the right to terminate because it's her body. She can say, I am no longer willing to support this life because of body autonomy. So that is the second point. The third one is on the aspect of the term or let me say the maturity of the fetus. So this is what has changed slightly. Nowadays, I think it is somewhat irresponsible to have an abortion during the third term. Why? Because that child already has a fully developed, that fetus, because they're not a child yet. You become a person, you are a potential person when you're in the stomach, when you're in the womb, the uterus of your potential mother. But you become a person the moment you leave her body. So as long as you're depending on her body, you're a potential person, you're not a person yet. That's why we start counting birth dates from the time you left your mother's body. And you're no longer dependent on her body for survival. Where was I? What was I talking about? I've lost my train of thought.
The week
I was
of
talking.
Donald Trump.
Sorry?
You were talking about Donald Trump.
I was talking about?
I think you were talking about Donald Trump.
Oh, no, I finished about Donald Trump. Okay, I've remembered. I was talking about the third point, which is having an abortion in the third trimester. To me personally, I think it's a bit reckless, but I would not impose my values on some other person. If she wants to have that abortion in the third trimester, she can. But to me personally, I wouldn't, because of the issue of viability and sentience, in that this fetus can survive outside the mother's body by the help of technology. Of course, it can still be argued that it's not a given. We don't know if there are resources to support that fetus. She might not have the access to an incubator. Additionally, there's also the issue of a fully developed nervous system, in that the fetus might perceive pain during a late stage abortion. So in the same way that the US used to allow abortions up to the third trimester, like before the third trimester, after the third trimester, you are not supposed to have an abortion. That's what I support. But I acknowledge the fact that this is a nuanced philosophical and moral argument, because it is very nuanced and not everybody will see it as I do. Then I think the government should get out of it. It should not try to restrict it, because even if it restricts it, people will still have those abortions. So that's the third point I wanted to make on the matter. Let women have the right to choose regardless of the stage of the pregnancy. Now, finally, to Morioki. He's talking about the guilty conscience, and he's using that as a justification for opposing abortions. I put it to you. You are saying we are the critical thinkers, of which I doubt your critical thinking abilities, Morioki. You just use that title, but you don't display critical thinking, honestly. Can't you see? It's so obvious. The reason why she's feeling guilty is because society is making her feel guilty. People like you, it doesn't even have to be about religion, but people like you say you are doing a bad thing. You are committing murder. No, she's not committing murder. Murder is when the baby has the baby is born. The baby might even be 1 hour old. The baby has come out of her body. That baby is not depending on her body. So if she kills that baby at that point, that is murder. But any time before, as long as the baby is inside her body, she has a right to decide what to do with it. So people like you who go calling them names, you have done a bad thing. Oh my God, yuck. You are a despicable human being for aborting. Obviously, she'll feel guilty. Obviously, that's where it's coming
Don't do
from.
that.
It's not natural. You might not do that because you are
I
too
won't do that.
gentle.
I won't.
You are too gentle and you are too polite. But other people who oppose abortions, they even go to abortion clinics and they shout at the girls or the women going in there, you are a murderer. What have you done? God had a plan for that child. That child could have been the president of this country. How could you abort? They call them names. Obviously, she'll feel guilty. That's where it's coming from, Morioki. So simple. Don't complicate it by saying natural, nyef, nyef, nyef. No, in fact, most women who don't have abortions when they want them are the ones who become miserable and they wind up being terrible parents to those kids. Let every baby on this earth be a wanted baby. Let's not force births on women. And in fact, I think this is a patriarchal thing. It's usually men who want to decide what women will do with their bodies. Get out of our business, get out of our bodies. Let us decide our path. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. Let's go to Lucevaleri.
Thank you very much, Paulina. Yeah, I think it's imperative that I'd like to clarify one
In
thing
fact, before you know that volume that you ended with.
Yeah,
I love that one because it was much better. Yeah.
okay.
That
Okay,
one, yes.
Okay, when it comes to abortion, I think it has some technical timelines that it's vital. I think, yeah, I will understand why someone might say that, yeah, abortions can't really happen in the third trimester. It's because that is in the third trimester, it won't really be called an abortion. It will be called a miscarriage or a stillbirth, and it does happen. So abortion in the West and in the Western countries where they are highly developed when it comes to when it comes to survivability of the fetus, they have their timelines at any demise of the pregnancy at 20 weeks and below. So at 20 weeks, that's something very small. That's like a 25 centimeters length and at least 400 grams. So in the West, such a thing has a chance of surviving. But we are not in the West. We are in Africa where we don't have resources. So our timeline, our working definition says 28 weeks. So at 28 weeks, it's slightly in the second trimester, getting into the third trimester. But yes, just at the start of the third trimester, that's the cut. So any loss of pregnancy within that timeline at 28 weeks, call it an abortion. So beyond 28 weeks, we now call it a stillbirth or a miscarriage. So there are vital differences. Now, another thing also, when it also comes to abortion, where I think it's where Morioki misunderstood what I was saying. Why I said that where religion or religious people love to guilt trip, just because they hear someone that has procured an abortion, they would like to very much guilt trip around. They even have stories of purgatory.
The
The purpose of purgatory. The purpose of purgatory according to them, it's like, it's the final purification process of, innocent souls. And the example of such souls, they are the kids who got aborted. Funny enough. So it's sort of that. So they would like to, guilt trip ladies who have procured an abortion. So once they do that, that's very different from the feeling of guilt. So I think you should now understand what I'm saying. So guilt tripping, it's like you're sort of eliciting someone to feel guilt. It's like you're manipulating them to dance to your tune, and then you end up making them feel bad. So that's not natural. It's natural because they're feeling bad. Everyone feels bad, but it's under your control. You're making that. So that's what religion does. So I'm not saying that religion is responsible for the guilt, but it's responsible for guilt tripping its believers. And even it ends up having abortion being viewed as something abhorrent, something unholy. It's a sin. And also, once I talked about generalization, about how the church loves to, say abortion is a sin. It doesn't know that we have spontaneous abortions, people who just have a habit of losing pregnancy because probably of some side effects, or probably their womb is abnormal in some sort of ways. So even so like, according to them, they still pass on the harsh judgment that why a kid, why are why are you losing pregnancy? It's like they will still guilt trip such faithful among them. So it's dangerous. So that's why it's dangerous, Moriki, to ever assume that 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 one variable affects everyone. It's very wrong. It's a statistical impossibility. So yeah, that's all I can say. Thanks.
Thank you. El Maestro. Are you there, El Maestro?
Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Okay.
So how my thinking has changed, when I used to be religious, I was totally against abortion, till religion. The things that you are being taught in Sunday school or in the sermons, when it comes to the thought of aborting, they really demonize abortion. They use this thing that, what if your parent had aborted? What if they use maybe someone who is popular person? Maybe what if the parent of this popular musician had aborted? Maybe they're using people who are popular, and let's say the musicians like Ross Muhando, or even politicians who have maybe made some change. They're saying, what if their parent had aborted them? We wouldn't have such people in our society. So now in my mind, I was totally against the thought of abortion, whether it was by mistake or by accident or by what, or being forced. No, I was totally against that thought of abortion. Even now, when I was still even thinking about this thing, this popular music group Sauti Sol, they also released a song that was also condemning abortion, where you should don't abort her. I don't know, the man is telling the woman, don't abort my child. I will take care of him or her, because I don't know, God, when God brings a child, he brings it with something something special. Those were the things on my mind. But now, when I left this thing, I started understanding. Now I started understanding the reasons why women are born. I became okay. I became very much pro-choice, except on this I'm still 50-50 on this. Where now a woman just this just living carelessly. I am not against any form of abortion except this where now a woman is just going sleeping carelessly. The men are aborting carelessly. You know, you're going to sleep with this man, going grow. You know, if you know you're not you're not in that, I don't know which period, but then you're just going to have raw sex with this man. You know, you will get pregnant, but you're still going to have. You gotten pregnant, you go and abort. You knew when you are going to have this sex with this man that you will get pregnant. You know, that is the only thing that I am against when it comes to abortion. But these other things I am totally fine with a woman aborting. But I used to be against it totally. Now still, even if someone has raped, as I was saying, a child comes from God. God will has a reason. God has a reason why. God has a reason why you are raped. So things like those. I had such mentality.
Yeah.
But later I came to at least understand why, and even when I understood that a child does not come from anything called God. A child is just a product of two people having sex. And last but not least, Muriuki, please don't ever assume that someone will feel guilt automatically after he hears about it. You are making a lot of assumptions. You are making a lot of assumptions. If someone knows that this thing will be a burden to me, he'll go and about it, and in no time she has already moved on. Don't ever assume that this thing it will be someone will feel guilty automatically. You are making unsubstantiated claims. Thank you.
Thank you, Maestro. We go to Maruiki.
Thanks, Bulala. First, Doctors, that comparison of Donald Trump, that needs an award. That you went overboard with Trump. In fact, Bulala said it's a horror. That's a horror comparison. Okay, then abortion. I think you forget abortion can harm a woman. That's very important. Abortion can destroy a woman. She might it can destroy her body. Maybe she wants to give birth to another kid. It fails. So abortion can destroy a woman's body. That's very important. Then last thing is guilt and regret are no choice, but abortion is. Yeah, abortion is a choice, but guilt and regret aren't. Thank.
Okay. I think we have exhausted the issue of abortion. And we go to another one. Hey, Siri, shut up.
Okay.
Sure. Sorry about that, it's Siri. The other thing that is associated with children is the issue of bearing children, where people feel compelled to have children because it's purpose. God brought you to have children. So give birth, fill the earth. How has your view changed on that issue since you left? Or did Siri Eugene, could you hear me when I was speaking?
Yes, I could hear you.
Okay, Siri just decided to reply even though she was not invited to this meeting.
Okay, I will say that you know, before I became atheist, while I was still being raised by the Catholics, the religious people, I used to see childbearing, it's like a virtuous thing. It's like as much as you can be a bad Christian and all, you can be sinful, but once you get into the business of having kids, babies, it's like you're sort of, it's like your vibe changes, and then everyone starts to see you, with a positive light. It's like, I think it has even been engraved in let's say cartoons where you might find that there's a hunter who wants to kill off the vermin, and then comes across a rat, and then when he wants to kill the rat presents that it has babies. So the owner of the house develops some sympathy and then just leaves them alone. It's like, you know, that's sort of how, let's say, society in general sort of views, childbearing. In as much as you can be an awful human being, but just because you're a parent, it's like we can change our lenses. So that's the same thing religion was doing. So once I came out of it, and then I started to see things holistically, like many reasons as to why maybe people will want to have children. And I I came to realize that even even the parents themselves, having a goal of trying to be viewed positive, it's not even one of the reasons why they will like to have children. They have very many reasons, but not that one. It's like, number one, you can have children because you will have someone to take care of your property, because you will die, and then when you don't have kids, there will be no one who can inherit. So people will have kids because of such reason. Even just self-satisfaction, because it's like one of your purpose in life, one of your set purpose in life. It's okay, it's allowed. So all of those many reasons, I came to realize that religion, it's sort of like it was an echo chamber. It says this, and then everyone should agree with it. So once I came out, and that's how I came across the philosophy of antinatalism as well, because I had left religion. I came to have this very many views when it comes to childbearing, even questioning the ethics around it. Is it actually even necessary, or is it even moral? And then it sort of raises very many questions. And I will say that it's actually a healthy thing, even for any critical thinker out there, when they come to question the things that they sort of previously thought that it was the norm of the society, things like childbearing. So I will say, living religion, I've actually came to appreciate very many perspectives, not just one perspective, which religion used to feed people. Like, it's like a good thing, it's virtuous. I cannot even question the morality of it. So yeah, thank you. So that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And true, I've never met an antinatalist in church. The first time that I started hearing that name, already I had left the religion.
Bulong, I can't hear. Bulong, I can't hear you. I don't know if it's me. I can't hear you, Bulala.
Or I say the word antinatalist, I only heard about it after leaving religion. Before that, it was not even on my vocab. Okay, Dorcas.
My phone has really been acting up, but
Yes, I saw when you reset it.
yeah, it logged me out. That's why it is important, if I'm the host of the meeting, that we should always have a co-host, so that when something happens to me, I am replaced immediately. Otherwise, the meeting would have ended so unceremoniously. Yeah, technology challenges. Now, I'm taking it, Bolelam, I didn't hear the question. What is the question?
Or we are dealing with the issue of having children, because
Okay. Yes.
the church looks at having children as a good thing, feeling your purpose in life. But once we go out, then we meet new terms like Eugene was talking about, antinatalist, and I was agreeing that I only got to know the term after I've left.
Yes, absolutely. Great. So, how have my views changed on childbearing after leaving the church? Well, I have become very critical about childbearing because I think it is a very big responsibility. Bringing an entire human into this world is not something that should be taken lightly. It's not something that should occur when it is unplanned. And it's not something that should be forced on another individual. When they are not ready, you force them when you forbid them from getting an abortion. If you leave that door open to an abortion, then only the willing and able parents will have children. So when I was a believer, I had bought into that dogma of you obeying God's command. He said, go forth, multiply, and fill the earth. And I remember our pastors always used to reinforce that idea. If you are single, it would be their priority to get you coupled. And then once you are married officially in the church, the next priority item is for you to have a child. Mtapata katoto kenyu lini? When will you get your little one, your mini me, your mini you? When are you getting it? So that was driven home all the time. If the pastor was praying for people and they go to the pews to the front of the church, he would pray for you over your issue, and then now he asks you, are you married? Do you have children? We need children. So I think it was just a selfish thing for them. They just wanted more congregants. That's why they were pushing for us to bear kids really quickly. But then when I left the church, I realized that it is okay not to bring children into this world. You are not doing a selfish thing because everybody is selfish. Parents are selfish, and child-free people are also selfish. It's not a battle of selfishness, because there are some child-free people who choose not to have children because they couldn't be bothered. Like the crying, the changing of the diapers, taking them to school. It's just so inconvenient, them not going out with their friends. So in that regard, it is selfish. But there are other people who are child-free because of philosophical or moral reasons. So in that regard, it might not be selfish. Then for parents, it is selfish when you do it in order to pass on your blood, your genes, or to have somebody to take care of you in your old age. Those are selfish reasons, but they are reasons nonetheless, and they are present in both sides of the spectrum. But I don't care about the level of selfishness. What I care about is, are you capable as a parent? Are you capable of raising that child? Do you have the resources to do it? And are you psychologically prepared to do it? Because there are some people, psychologically, they're just not there. I know of a friend who had an abortion because she has bipolar disorder, and she just feels like mentally she would not be a good mother. She just wouldn't be able to take care of somebody who's dependent on her throughout. So my perspective has changed. I am very sympathetic to the child-free cause. Like, I really support them, especially here in Kenya, where we are so religious. I really hear where they are coming from. And I'm so for people who are child-free. because it means that there are people who are thinking critically about bringing that child into this world. So I'm very sympathetic to that cause. However, on a personal basis, I'm not child-free. I am childless, not by choice, by circumstances. I've just been unfortunate in the dating world. I keep meeting the wrong men, and I'm not willing to have a child with someone who is not going to be a present father. If you will not be a present father, I don't want to do it alone. I would rather be childless. So yeah, that is my particular situation. I'm finding that in atheist circles, there are a lot of child-free people. In fact, that's the reason why I've realized I might not set my sights on dating atheists, because so many of them are child-free. And that's not compatible with me. I'm still, like, for me, children will always be in the equation. Even if I become biologically incapable of having them, I would want to adopt one, or even get a cousin, a nephew, a niece from the village. My village has so many kids who are motherless. They're living with my grandma and they're burdening my grandma. I can just pick one. I can just pick one and help raise them, even without formally adopting them. So I love children. That's the bottom line. I love them, and I would want to participate in a nurturing role for them. But I don't want to take that burden when I don't have the resources or the support of a partner, or a partner who will be active. So yeah, that's the long and short of it. Last comment to Morioki. He was complaining and saying that that analogy, that comparison I used of Donald Trump is crazy. Please, Morioki, I keep saying, when you don't understand something, don't impose your lack of understanding on other speakers in the discussion. Just because I don't understand algebra or I don't understand astrophysics, it shouldn't be that I forbid people from talking about astrophysics. So you don't understand the comparison, but it works for somebody with the mental capacity to understand analogies. This is an argument used if you look at abortion debates and the philosophical arguments for abortions. That analogy has been used in the place of Donald Trump. There's a lady, I think she's called Judith or someone, she's a philosopher. She's the one who came up with that analogy. And in the place of Donald Trump, she put a famous violinist. Yeah, she was trying to explain the concept of having the right to terminate. Even if somebody is a grown adult, as long as they're depending on your body for survival without your consent, you have a right to terminate. So she was giving the example of somebody who woke up in an ICU bed and found that their organs were being harvested or being used to support the life of a famous violinist. So it's a common comparison. You might not understand comparisons. Other people have the intelligence to understand comparisons. So don't go stopping us from communicating to those other people. Thank you.
Oh yeah, now we are next issue of gender expectations during sex.
Bruno, I can't hear Bulala. I can't.
I say I was looking at because I've changed the sequence. The next one is on gender expectations during sex, and I think this one we were supposed to integrate with the others. But why I'm putting it I think it's good to discuss. It's because in religion, woman is sort of.
Is it me? I can't hear. I don't know if it's me.
Bolelang, your sound.
Oh, what
You need to
happened?
get- that's
So,
better. That's better.
I'll come closer to the screen. I say the next issue is gender expectations during sex. And it is important because the role of a woman in religion is suppressed. They are seen as a person that things happen to and who should just play along. But with living religion, we find that women have their agency also. We see that more and more. And how has it affected you, the way that you view the role of genders during sex? Usually I hear people talking about this when it comes to initiation. Who initiates? And who gets to be given names and labels because of initiating? Why? Are we still under those views? Miroyuki?
Sorry, I'll raise my hand. For that, I'll talk later on. Right now, I'm no answer for that. Right now, I'm blank for that. I'm blank right now for that.
Okay. Let me put it in a question. If you are a man, would you appreciate if a woman takes the initiative? Would you not be offended? They suggest, let's do it this way. Let's do it today. How about doing this and this? Is that a role that, for instance, a woman is seen to play? Or are we in the traditional view to say, hey, it's the man that initiates, it's the man that drives this this activity? And if it's an issue that it doesn't interest or where we have no issues, we might skip it also. Dorcas?
Okay, I was waiting for others because I had just spoken, but if people don't have opinions on it, I can go ahead and share my sentiments, which are very similar to what you just said. Religion, especially Christianity, which we are familiar with, but even Islam, because Islam takes the cake, does not perceive women as sexual beings. They are supposed to be tools for men's pleasure. Even when God was giving those 10 commandments, purportedly, we know there's no God and there was no Moses, but according to the storybook, when God was giving those commandments, he said, "Thou shalt not lust after your neighbor's wife or your neighbor's property." They just considered men's lust. They didn't consider women's. And this is echoed across various faiths. They just assumed that the woman's work is to is to fulfill her wifely duties and to give birth. We were not seen as sexual beings. So that meant the rise of the purity culture. Women were perceived, or are still perceived, to be gatekeepers of sexual purity in religion. They are the ones that are supposed to be virgins. For men, nobody ever tests them to see whether they are virgins or not. So because these ideas are drummed into women constantly, when you leave religion, you have that trauma. You know, there's something called religious trauma syndrome. You have that mentality in your head that you shouldn't express yourself sexually. You shouldn't be wanting that thing. Don't do it so much. Don't take initiative. Don't have a dominant role in the bedroom. Just be passive. Just take it. You see, there's that mentality, but then there's also another contradictory idea, which is that men want a lady in the streets but a freak in the sheets. You've been telling us throughout that we are supposed to be chaste. We're not supposed to give it up at any cost. But then the moment you marry us, we're supposed to turn on a switch and become freaks. They even tell you, me, I don't like a woman who just lies like a sack of potatoes. She just lies down like a sack of potatoes. But yet you've been telling her she shouldn't express herself. So where is she going to learn how to become a freak in the sheets? She won't, yeah. And all of this just contributes to suppressing women's sexuality. Women can enjoy sex just as much as men do. Women can take initiative and they can ask for it. It isn't a misnomer. And my mentality has definitely changed after leaving the church, because I no longer have a Bible to stifle me on that front. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You remind me of another one who does contact here in South Africa. Can I call a prostitute? No, she's not a prostitute, because she does it for porn content. But she would stand at the street, and when a man approaches her, then she would switch the script and asks us from the man. And when the man wants the price, she says, no, I'll be doing it to you. You don't have to pay. It's for my pleasure. And a lot of men leave her, even though they stop the car. So it shows that there is some stigma that is associated with a woman taking that initiative. And I don't know whether is it cultural, religious, but there is something like that, which is a bit confusing, because yes, they would pay for going to somebody who is free and a free spirit, but I don't think they want it if it's in their family with their wife. I don't hear a lot of men talking about that. They can talk about wanting it to be like that, but if it's like that also, they complain, wanting to know where has she landed? What does she do? And I'm not there. So yeah, there are very complicated dynamics that come up when it comes to gender expectations during sex. Here's another one. The Bible says the men should be, if they want leadership in the congregation, they should be a husband to one wife, yada, yada. But the issue of partners of sex without morality of the Bible, how has it changed for you? And should a person have more than one partner? Should they be in a monogamous relationship? Should they be what's the word? Polyamorous? Polygamous? What's your view after you left religion? It seems all of you are sitting next to your partners and you are scared discussing this one. Is there some tension in what is in your mind and what you want to say? Miroki?
Thanks, Bilala. For me, what I'll say, I support polygamy because men are cheating. There's too much cheating going around. Men cheat too much. So maybe if they have many women, they might reduce the cheating on their wife. Might if they're not to marry many women, because men cheat too much. You have one wife, but you keep on going out. So maybe if you have many women, you might not cheat.
Okay, and what about women who are cheating? What's the solution for them, Muroki?
No comment. No comment there.
Oh, you are biased. Dorcas?
Let me allow ex-pastor to speak because I had just spoken. Then I'll go after him.
Okay, Pastor Stano.
Yeah, I think I have not spoken, but in this case, I can just comment by saying it will depend on how the couple agree. For example, we cannot just say a man is allowed to sleep with many women and yet a woman is not permitted to sleep with many men. So you can agree, you can be just going out, and even the wife should be going out also to fight. So we should either give each and every person permission to move out, or you just leave by saying no one should go out. You just live as monogamous. But I can also just think about this, about sharing. For example, a couple sharing with another couple, but in a medical wise. That can be also a better choice if you are trying to change the taste of food, instead of just going anyhow without each concept. Thank you.
Okay, the concept of swapping, partner swapping. Yes, and I had the mention of the word polygamy, but do we know of the word polyamorous? And does it come into play when you talk about multiple partners? Dorcas?
Yes, I am aware of the term polyamory. This is when a couple has multiple partners and it is not gender sensitive. However, okay, in polyamory, I believe there's a primary partner to whom one is married, and then there are other people you are allowed to have sex with by your partner, or you can even bring them into your marriage and have sexual relations with them together. Like it can be like a threesome or something to that effect. I'll have you know, during our video shoot, there was a couple that came and they were asking me whether I'm down for that. And I was like, I'm not that sexually adventurous. I'm sorry. I don't like to share. For me, the bottom line here on multiple partners is that as long as there is consent, there wasn't coercion. You know, there are people who are coerced into something. It might not be violent, but you are coerced into it because maybe you are underage, or even if you are not underage, your parents told you must be the second or the third wife to this rich man in order to get the rest of us out of poverty. So you are compelled to get into a polygamous marriage, not because you wanted it, but in order to appease your parents. Otherwise, you would have been shunned by them. So for me, as long as it is consented, I think there's no problem with it. Anybody can be in a polygamous union. They can be in a polyamorous union or in a polyandrous one. I remember seeing this Congolese lady who has married 3 men. And all the comments were religious. The Bible forbids it. That is a harlot. And the woman was rich and she looked like she was in her late 40s or maybe early 50s, but the men were all in their 20s.
Yeah.
She made the point.
In Namibia, it happens that quite a lot, but not
yeah.
marriage. Through being hospitable to your guests. So a husband, if a guest comes, then they can leave the bedroom and go and sleep somewhere. Then the wife will take care of the guest because but it's part of culture there.
Yes. I'm even told in China there's also another ethnic group that does that. The men just visit while the women are the ones that get to pick. Yeah.
The Musua, the Musua people.
They're what?
So in the Musua people, just
yes,
like you've got the Kikuyu side, they are called Musua. Musua people. It's the girl who runs her sexual life. It is the older woman who runs the household. The women don't leave the house until they get old.
Wow.
Even the men don't leave the house, but the men take care of the children of their sisters. They work in the fields and do heavy lifting. but the matriarch and the financial issues are going to be taken care by the older woman. But there, here's the interesting thing, there's no marriage, and marriage is called working marriage. Working marriage is that men walk during the night, looking at houses with the broom outside. So when you see a broom, that means the lady is open for a visit. You come, knock at the door with that broom, and if he says to you, leave the broom outside, that means you don't get inside. But if you open the door and he takes the broom, then you get inside with the broom. But you must be gone before sunrise.
Amazing. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So in those cultures, I think it's permissible, and these are consenting adults. I see no problem with it. Now, you personalized the question. You said, how has it changed your perspective? For society, for other people, I think having multiple partners is not a problem. But as Dorcas, I don't endorse any of that. Like, if I met a guy, no matter how lovely, how amazing, how intelligent he is, and how accomplished he is, if he tells me that he's polygamous or he wishes to have multiple partners in the future, it's a wrap. I do not want to participate in that. And the reason, I think we've had this discussion some time back on polygamy. Personally speaking, I wouldn't want it because of the rivalry between the co-wives. There's usually some rivalry. There might be resource competition. There might be difficulties in inheritance, fairly administering property among all the children. There's usually some favoritism from the man. It's so hard for somebody to equally spread their affection for their partners. You'll find that
Fighting for attention.
yes, you're always fighting for attention. Then even my sexual needs would have to be curtailed, because you see now he's dividing his attention among various households. So when he comes home from work, he might say, today I'm going with Lydia, tomorrow I'm going with Samantha, and then maybe on Thursday is when I will remember Dorcas. And me, I have a high sex drive. I want it every day. So you see, I will be shortchanged in a polygamous union. I think for me that is a reason against it. And even polyamory, I have issues with paternal uncertainty. If I have multiple partners, then I might be uncertain who is responsible for the child once the child comes into the picture. And yes, we can do DNA tests, but if you do a DNA test and find that the person who is responsible is not your primary partner, is just a by the way, he might choose to not participate in the child's life, while your primary partner would also be well within his right not to raise this kid because it's not his at the end of the day. So it causes a lot of confusion, which I wouldn't want to be party to. And for me, the other aspect of the multiple partners, the polyamory, is the problem of sexually transmitted diseases. Yes, you can use protection, but condoms are not 100%. They're not fail safe. They can backfire, and because you're not with one partner, you might catch something. So because of that, I opt out. But I acknowledge that there are other people who see these risks and they don't mind them. they're willing to take up those risks. So it's okay, then they can continue. But Dorcas, no, thank you.
Mhm. And you find that it has to be engineered into that culture, because as we have seen when talking about the Museo people, the issue is not who's the father, it's who's the mother. And if you start to develop attachment with one person, then the village gets rid of you. You must leave. They don't want monogamous relationship. So there are few people who went to university and came with bad habits and started developing relationship with one person. Then they are banished from the village. Yeah, culture is very interesting. More contribution on this issue? Here's another issue that I want to talk about when it comes to multiple partners. Whether in religious setting or even on people who are not religious, where people pretend as if they are monogamous, but in the dark, they are not. How does that affect relationships? When you compare it with models that we have spoken about, that are open because they are culturally accepted. And you come to mainly Christian countries where they pretend that now they do none of that stuff. But as biology has proven, we find that humans are promiscuous animals. I think most of us are asleep now. Ricky?
Yeah, just a quick comment. For me, like I said earlier, I choose polygamy because the woman will always find out in the end. The man thinks he's hiding, but eventually she knows he's cheating. He can't hide. He can't hide forever. Someone should find out. That's how I said earlier. I insist on polygamy because he goes out. She'll know one day he's like she'll catch him one way or another.
Oh yeah. And still wanting to ask further, Mireke, and will the husband find if it's done by the woman, and how do they solve it?
Yeah, you can't hide. Yeah, someone they'll find out. You can't hide forever. You can't hide it. It'll come out eventually.
So your solution was polygamy for the men?
Polygamy, yes. Polygamy.
For the woman, should it be polyandry?
I don't know. I think maybe I'm biased for the woman. Maybe I'm biased. I find for the woman I have no comment, so I might be biased for the women. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So, or you are patriarchal in your approach, like Abraham, who Isaac and Jacob. Okay. Oh. Further contributions. We are left with 1 point, and yes, I can see the time now. It's you, the following day, and ready for sleep. In fact, we can even include the last point because they are nearly the same. Casual sex. Casual sex, it's where they are not even partners. Random hooking up. How has that changed since you left religion? Dorcas?
Hey, people have fallen asleep, I tell you.
Yes, and I'm thinking of closing now.
Yes, yes. In fact, this is the last point. Perhaps we should have cut the points to 4 or 5 because anyway 9 points are mean. We have really tried to cover them as best as we can.
And emotionally, it is draining. This is not an easy topic. Needs people to get deeper into how they feel.
Yeah. So maybe for the future, we'll always make sure the subtopics don't go past 5 of them, just to keep the meeting succinct. Anyway, casual sex. I think religion teaches you to perceive sex as disgusting, and it propagates the purity culture. So anybody who has sex, casual sex, is regarded as impure and immoral. But they still do it. They still do it. The difference between them and us is the feeling of guilt. Religion just makes you feel very guilty over any sexual acts. It perceives the ideal sexual act as the one that is done in a marriage for purposes of procreation with no kinkiness or adventure, preferably missionary style. So these things of casual sex, oh my gosh, that is premarital sex, that is infidelity, and it is not permissible in Christian circles. However, when you leave the church, then there's no burden of those religious expectations on you. And if you want to, you can. So, like in my case, for other people, I have no problem. If they want casual sex, they can go for it. Whether they are men or women, they can go for it. But on my end, I think maybe here I still hold conservative views for myself, not for other people. I have a problem with casual sex for very utilitarian reasons. It's not even a moral argument per se, just utilitarian reasons. Personally, I've not found value in casual sex, and the data supports me. Statistics show that when a man has a one-night stand, he has an 88% likelihood of orgasm. 88, almost 90% of men will climax when they have a one-night stand. Conversely, for women, the likelihood of her having an orgasm is 15%. A miserable 15%. That's what I've found. The few casual encounters I've had, they've been disappointing. So why should I do something that is disappointing, that doesn't give me value? Yeah, I don't do it. I find value in a relationship. For the simple reason that I'm more likely to find sexual satisfaction in a relationship than in a casual encounter. Why is this the case? They explained in that research, it's because most casual sex encounters are penetration heavy. They concentrate on penetration, yet I'll throw in another statistic. Only 18% of women can climax via penetration. So close to over 80% of women do not climax via penetration alone. So you go for casual sex as a woman, you're gonna get penetrative, you won't climax. The chances are that you guys might be drunk, so you might not even remember the encounter, or there could also be the risks, like I said, STDs or unplanned pregnancies could occur. Of course, we have solutions for unplanned pregnancies, but the morning after pill only works before ovulation. When you're ovulating, it doesn't work. And an abortion is not a contraceptive. So with those risks, with the risk of pregnancy, with the risk of STDs, you don't know this person. You've not done enough research to talk about protecting yourselves. They could be carrying something. For me, those practical reasons forbid me from going down that path. But as I said, for other people who've given thought to all these risks and they've taken some precautions here and there, then by all means, let them knock themselves out. Thank you.
And when you said that's the reason for not going down, I thought you were going to end there. Then you said going down that path. Because in casual sex, people even don't go down there. People don't want to be seen naked. They feel a bit protective. What is this person going to say about my body, whatever. So it's a bit tense unless it's those situations where it's in a
yes. And Bolelang, I have to add that it has the statistics also show that most men are unlikely to try hard to pleasure their partners if it is casual sex. If I know that I'll just get another swipe, another match from Tinder, I'll never see this woman again. As a man, you won't concentrate on pleasuring her. But if she's your girlfriend, you know you're going to see her again. You need to give her a reason to come back. You will put in the effort. So there's that too.
Yeah. And there's also thing of getting aggressive with that at 9 in the morning, getting rid of that body. I've seen it with most men. They don't know you. They want you to go. That they want you to dress and go. Dress up and go. So for satisfaction side, I don't think it's fulfilling. And that one is the very freaky one. I think it was supposed to fail to go there on the kinky things that people can. Strangers are very strange. I think we have. Miriki, sorry, I never saw the hand.
Yeah, just because I think when we talk about abortion, I think rape shouldn't be involved because rape is different. So I think for rape and abortion, it shouldn't be there because rape is something totally different. Then also, I think they're being selfish to women. Let's think of women's bodies being destroyed by abortion and their psychology. So it can destroy, like I said earlier, it can destroy her body and her mind. So I think we're being selfish to our women. It's because some do abortions and get messed up completely. Their bodies get destroyed. And then also, like I said, the guilt and regret will come. So let's take care of our women when we talk about abortion. Because I think we're not being fair to our women. We don't care about their body and their mind. Then lastly, talk us about the comparisons. Yeah, I don't mind you comparing, but what scares me is that when you give things that are unreal, we look, I think we should rely on facts and actual events, and not examples that are unreal. Thanks.
Okay. And yeah.
Morioki, it's
Going
not
back to that.
unreal. Morioki, just one last. I just have to. Gosh, you and your intellectual capacity, you don't go projecting. You might not understand how that dependency can occur, but it can. There's a way you can support another human body, either through your kidney or through your blood.
White Trump, Docas, white Trump of
No,
all the
but
people. Trump.
in fact, I think you can discuss that tomorrow over coffee. What's the day tomorrow? Saturday. Oh yes. You can meet with Dorcas and have a discussion over it. But I would like to close now. And in closing, I would like to go back to the issue of morality. Morality is not an issue that has been brought to us by religion. Religion learned morality from people and they used it. What is that word when they talk about people who take something that belongs to a certain group and make it theirs, misappropriated it and claimed it is theirs. So we should not be surprised when we see certain things that we learned in church and we want to do them naturally. Maybe multiple partners, Dorcas can deal with multiple partners. It might not be a hangover from religion. Maybe religion learned the dangers of multiple partners, observing people how they felt about it, and they saw that, okay, if you use this, then people will support us. So the question is the seemingly new liberation that you found when you left religion comes with responsibility. And how are you going to use that responsibility that you still keep a balance of enjoying life, enjoying self-worth, but also not inhibiting yourself with unnecessary rules? That's a very deep discussion that we cannot finish in one day. And it's something that we should carry in our minds and think about it as individuals, talk about it with people that we meet around us there. You are in the same location. But yeah, for now, it was a lovely discussion. And I must say I enjoyed the liveliness of the participation. I'll hand over to Dorcas.
Thank you so much, Bolelang, for steering that ship. It was a very long journey, but we have finally arrived at the destination. Ex-Pastor Stano, I see you're the host. I'm not able to end the meeting, so please go ahead and do it.
Oh, the moment you left, I became the host.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah. Dorcas sold her whole ship for a cup of soup in the house.
Oh yeah. But overall, thank you guys. Thank you, Morioki. Thank you, El Maestro at some point. He left. Thank you, Lucia Veleli, for giving us that nuanced aspect on abortion and childbearing. And thank you, Morioki, for your many questions and your inability to understand comparisons, but let's not go there. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We really, really, really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. We know there are so many competing activities that you had, but you set time aside for this. So guys, I wish you a good night and a lovely weekend ahead. Bye.